Hello, my name is Douglas Bloch. Welcome to the Depression Recovery Channel, where each week we talk about practical tools and coping strategies for healing from depression and anxiety. Today is Flashback Friday, a feature in which I republish one of my earlier videos you might not have seen that contains really important coping strategies that will help you attain a better mood. Now here's today's video. The title of today's video is Don't Believe Everything Your Brain is Telling You. Before we go into this and why that's so, we need to tell our opening joke. And this is a card that was given to me in February when I turned 70. Very apropos for a 70-year-old man. And as you can see, there's a picture. It's in a hospital, a woman answering the phone. And she says, "Urology department, can you hold?" Very cute. So, as I was saying, the title of today's video is Don't Believe Everything Your Brain is Telling You. And, you know, I got a couple of degrees in psychology. I studied neuroscience, neuroanatomy. And everybody agreed that the brain was the most remarkable phenomenon of nature. I mean, after all, it has billions of neurons connecting with trillions of connections between those neurons. And I think, as I said, the 90s was the decade of the brain. And to say that the brain is an organ is like saying a Maserati is a car. It's really a divine phenomenon. It's a miracle of life. However, given the fact we live in the physical universe where imperfections abound, even our wonderful brain can sometimes go awry. When you're in a major depressive episode or in a state of high anxiety, chemical imbalances are created inside your brain, and those imbalances present you with a distorted vision of your present, your future, as well as a distorted perception of yourself. Just as an underweight person with an eating disorder will look at the mirror and see themselves as fat, so too will a person who is in the grips of despair see false visions of themselves and of the future. Thus, when I was in the midst of my deep depression, one of the best pieces of advice I ever got was, don't believe what your brain is telling you. It sometimes can be wrong. You may not think it's wrong, you may feel it's right, but it can be wrong. So what I like to do now is share with you 5 common distorted perceptions that people like myself and others have experienced when we've been depressed. The clinical name for these are cognitive distortions. Since the word cognitive means thinking, what these really are thinking errors, or as they say in AA, stinking thinking. So let's start with distorted perception number 1. Very common when people are in depression, very common for me, and that perception is, I'm always going to feel this way. Now, this is based on the false belief that your suffering is permanent. Now, the problem is it feels that way, but that's not the case because the only physical constant in this physical universe is change. The only thing you can guarantee to happen is change. So if you're feeling hopeless that things will never get better, I would like you to replace the distorted belief with what I call a new and more empowering belief, and that is, whatever I am feeling right now won't last forever. This too shall pass. Whatever I am feeling right now will not last forever. This too shall pass. The second distorted perception that happens when your brain is not working properly is, I am trapped and there is no way out. Now, this is obviously a variation on the first distorted perception, I will feel this way forever. And when you feel this way, this feeling trapped, feeling like there's no escape, you're in a tunnel and both ends have a sign called no exit. If that happens over a period of time, you really start to think, maybe I should exit this existence. However, here's the point that was told to me and I'm telling to you right now. Just because you can't see a way out doesn't mean there is no way. I'll say it again. Just because you can't see a way out of your predicament, that does not mean there is no way. Circumstances can change like that. And so a new belief I'd like you to use to replace the old one is, there is a positive future for me, I just can't see it yet. And an image I like to use is, imagine you're outside, it's overcast like it is here in Oregon all the time, and things are gray and gloomy. Well, just above the clouds, you can't see it, the sun is shining. And once those clouds part, you will be able to see it. And once the situation that you're in changes, then your positive future will unfold itself, even though right now it seems impossible. All right, here's distorted perception number 3, very common with depressed people who tend to beat themselves up a lot and blame themselves. And the perception is, it's my fault that I'm depressed. Now, the problem with this is it neglects the fact that depression is a very complex illness with roots in biology, family history, childhood experiences, environmental stressors, and many other factors that are beyond your control. So you can see it really isn't your fault that you've gotten to this position. It's sort of been fate, karma, whatever you say. But a much better way to state what's going on now is, I cease to blame myself for having this depression. Instead, I focus on what I can do to promote my healing. I like this because it kind of taps into the serenity prayer of AA. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to do the things I can, and the wisdom to change the difference. So you can't really change what's come up, from the past to get you into this situation. But what you can change is what you do about it. And as I've said throughout these videos, depression and anxiety are treatable conditions. And with the right type of reaching out and the right type of perseverance, they can be overcome. Here's the fourth distorted belief that occurs when your brain is not working properly. Having this depression means I am weak and defective. Now, this has been a big one for me because my mother once said, God bless her, you've been sick since the time you were born. I probably didn't really mean it maliciously, but she said it. You've been sick since the time you were born. How's a young boy to feel, right? I'm defective. And I carried this sense of inferiority, something wrong with me, until I started to work with people who had been battling psychiatric illnesses their whole lives. And what I discovered is these people were not wimps. These people were not weak. These were strong and courageous people who had the Herculean task of bearing and transforming intense pain. No, these are no weaklings. These are heroes. So I'd like your new belief to be, I release any shame that I have about having a mental health disorder. I'm a normal person battling an abnormal condition, and I have the strength and the perseverance to be victorious. So now we're ready for the final distortion, at least for this video, distorted perception number 5, and that is that there are actually 2 distortions that are related to reaching out for help. I'll read them. Reaching out for help is a sign of weakness, and I don't want to burden other people with my problems. I don't deserve support. So as far as the first, you might be someone who's lived independently your whole life and you're not used to asking for support. You think you can beat this on your own. However, the weight of depression is too great for any person to bear by themselves. And you also may be someone who doesn't feel worthy of support. Maybe your childhood conditioning said you were undeserving, and besides, you don't want to burden other people. Again, these are both counterproductive because the second pillar of my 3 pillars of mental health recovery are reach out for support. So here's a new belief. It's okay to reach out for help. Reaching out for help is a sign of strength, and there are other people who would be glad to assist me. This has been Douglas Bloch. I hope you found the information on this Flashback Friday video helpful. If so, please give it a like, as likes draw more and more people to this channel and hopefully some more subscribers. You can also leave your comments in the comments section or email me, douglasbloch@gmail.com. If you do want to subscribe to this channel, click on my photo in the closing credits. You'll be taken to my subscribe page. And if you click on the bell to the right, you'll be notified every time I do a new video or live chat. And if you want to contribute to this channel and become a patron, simply click on the Patreon image. You'll be taken to my crowdfunding site. And until next video, I wish you the best in your mental health recovery. Thank you so much.